What's good, everybody? Another bright one today. I'm about to go get my workout in, go get my walk in. Just for reference, if anybody's asking, if anybody cares, right? I do try to do a walk in the morning, and then I try to do some weights later on during the day, about 4 days a week or so. Try to walk 5, 6 days a week and try to and then do weights. Do there's this guy on YouTube I follow, Funk Roberts. So he's got some 20-minute, 30-minute hit high intensity interval training stuff, sometimes 30, 40 minutes. If it's a short one, 15 minutes or so, I do it twice. And then he's got some weights as well, 20-minute weights, 30-minute weights. I usually throw, if I do 20 minutes, I throw some extra push-ups and stuff like that. So that's just a little bit of what I do. Try to do that, at least lift weights 4 days a week, and then try to walk 5 days a week for an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. So 5, 6 days a week. Watching what I eat and all that. Try to do the whole food plant-based diet as much as possible. Try to stick to really, really good natural foods, fruits, vegetables, all that. So if anybody's thinking about or asking about what I do. So I want to let's dive into what we got going on here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome again to all the new subs. Appreciate it. So I wanted to kind of modify something I said last week, right? I talked or the other day, my last video, the whole gender war thing, right? What I was talking about is people who are, the simping language. You got to go 50-50. You're not a real man if you don't do this. You're not a real woman if you don't do that. You got to bring something to the table. Disengage from all that type of talk and foolishness and all that. That's what I mean by silence, right? Just disengage from it. Just disengage. And I wanted to preface that because it may seem like this video is going to contradict the previous video, but it's really not, right? But in order to get anything that you want in life, you have to work for it, you have to put in effort for it, and you have to understand what those people want. If you're a car salesman, you got to understand what the customer wants, all this type of stuff, right? You want a job, you got to dress up for the interview, impress the boss, impress the hiring manager. You got to do all this stuff. So don't let anybody teach you, that's not true. And another thing is, you got to fit into a certain level. You have to do what you have to do to fit in. You have to do what you have to do in order to fit in. And I know somebody right now who is going through a training session, and she wasn't sure if they wanted her to straighten her hair or what. But she straightened her hair. She kept on natural kind of fro. Sometimes she would put some braids in it or whatever, but for the most part, it wasn't processed and fake and all that kind of stuff, and didn't wear the weaves and hair and wigs and all this kind of other foolishness that I think is really, really destroying black women's image. But that's my opinion. So, but you have to do what you have to do to fit in. And I want to know. I'm asking a question here because I'm really, really concerned about how people see themselves. There was a discussion on my grandmother. I probably told this before. Some of these stories are going to be repetitive, but there was a time my grandmother came to my house, and we were having a conversation, and there was a piece of paper on the floor. And we were talking and stuff, and she's telling me, some people don't see this piece of paper. I was a young guy. I was probably 10, 11, something like that. And some people don't see it. She was trying to get me to understand that you have to be able to see things and take assessments of yourself. And this is something that a lot of black folks will be able to relate to. If you can relate to this, put this in the comments, right? Some of us have been made hyper aware by our parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, hyper aware of how we interact with the world, how we look, how we dress, how we smell, how we move, how we walk, how we talk, right? We've been made hyper aware of that. for two reasons, right? Number one, we want to fit in. Well, it's really about fitting in socially, right? Period. It's about fitting in socially. You don't want to offend people, but it's order to fit into a job, obviously. And then number two, you have to fit into to the environment, right? I lost my train of thought there. So you have to be impressive to people, right? And you don't want to be offensive. Impressive to impress them, to get you a job, to get you a date, whatever. And then you don't want to be offensive to people. I think those are two reasons that I was going to say. So, and some people just don't have it. They don't have it. From that conversation I had with my grandmother about the piece of paper that's on the floor, I became so much more aware, because I didn't want to be that person who just didn't have it, who was walking around just oblivious about how they looked, smelled, came off to people, how they spoke. And my grandmother very, very much concerned about how I communicated, and that's why I harp on that. I harp on communication. She wanted me to be able to talk, to speak, to articulate myself, and she wanted me to be able to write. Right? She was very, very, very meticulous about that. She was very meticulous about that. Because she recognized, as a black man, that I had the world against me. I had the world against me as a black man. And she wanted me to be the best that I could be. She wanted me to be the best that I could be. And from those talks, conversations, I love my grandmother, and I miss her dearly. But she I talk about a lot about mentors and all this kind of stuff. My grandmother, man. So my grandmother was it for me. And she pushed me to do well. And she called it schooling, older folks, you got to get your schooling, keep your head in the books. So, but she wanted me to be very much aware of myself. So I become a police officer, right, later on in life. And I go to this people's house, and if you have any police officer friends, you should really ask them about some of the stories they can tell you about, how people live and stuff. And I'm not saying this to shame anybody or embarrass anybody. I'm obviously not going to tell people's names and stuff, but I can remember we went to this one person's house. I was brand new. I was a brand new officer. I had just got off of field training. We call it FTO, field training officer. FTO. I was by myself. One of my first calls by myself. Right. So I get to the house, and it was a domestic violence call, and the kids are sitting there, right, because 1995 or 6 or so. Right, not many black officers, not really, right? It's still kind of emerging because of the Bill Clinton bill about more police officers on the street, the crime bill. So there's more black officers on the street. So these little kids, right? I don't know how many there were, 4 or 5 of them, So they're looking at me, and I'm talking to the parents. I think it was 2 or 3 ladies there, and maybe there was a sister. I don't know. I can't remember the full extent, but there was a dog in the house, and they're looking at me, right? The TV's on, right? They turn it down so I can hear what they're saying. I'm gonna have a conversation about the violence that some ex-boyfriend or whatever had just caused, and all this kind of stuff. But right next to the TV was a pile of doo-doo, pile of crap, feces, excrement. And I'm thinking in my mind, right? And they're just talking to me just as normally as I'm talking to you. Yeah, he came over, he did this, the kids saw it. Just going on telling the story. In the house. We're not on the porch or outside, out back, it's in the house. And nobody noticed it. I'm not saying they didn't know it was there. It's obviously there. But notice it to the fact where they understand that they need to do something about it. Some people just don't have it. And if the 3 adults, 2 or 3 adults, whatever it was, are not self-aware enough, self-aware is probably the wrong word, but aware enough to say we need to clean up this feces from the floor, then the kids will grow up with that same type of mentality where they're just unaware. They're just unaware. Why am I telling this story? Because there are people out here who are just unaware. They're just unaware of how they look, sound, come off. I watch my videos over and over. I watch a video, number one, because I want to improve. Number two, because I wanna know how I'm coming off. My mannerisms. I want to know how I'm coming off, right? And I don't think people can really ever do a full, valid self assessment of themselves. I don't know if that's truly possible. You got to get other people to take a look at you. You got to take other people to There was a time I took a test. Promotional examination. This is gonna be a long video. I took a promotional examination, and I was killing it. I think I was number one or tied for number one for the written. It was two parts of the promotional examination. We took the written, and then we took the what we would call the oral presentation, right? It was a series of different things. You had to go from one station to another, giving mock interviews and mock press conferences and things like that, right? And this was for a high position in the police department, right? And so I had done all, so after we did all this, right? So we did the assessment and stuff. So a friend of mine, he was a chief at the time. I asked him, did you hear anybody? Now, the way that the presentations go is they bring other chiefs in or other higher ranking people in to assess how these people would do. Essentially, what they're asking themselves is this person qualified? Would I hire this person to work for me the next day? That's really the frame of thinking that a lot of these chiefs would have. So if it was the assistant deputy chief, it was essentially the commander of patrol that I was going for, right? And so they had chiefs of police and all these different people, right, to know if I was qualified to do this, or not just me, but everybody who took the test. So I'm asking my chief, right, because he takes these people out to lunch and all that kind of stuff. How do they think it did? They said that the black dude. I was the only black dude. He's like, the black dude was killing it, but then like something happened where he just kind of fell off. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, that's what they said, man. It was the last panel, so I don't know if I got tired. I don't know, but I thought I killed the whole thing. So because I didn't get the highest score then, and I had the highest score, and I looked at the scores. I had the highest scores of all these different assessment panels and the written. I came out number two. Had I not, whatever, they would have I think it came out number two or three. But I would have beat them. I would have beat all my competition easily. So I'm saying that to say you really got to always try to improve and all this kind of stuff, right? So then I go take the captain's test. I was a lieutenant at the time. That test, I was a lieutenant. And then I'm going to take the captain's test, and I made sure I stayed up and did whatever. And obviously I scored high enough to do it. So what I'm saying is it's difficult to take an assessment of yourself. You should do the best you can to take an assessment of yourself. Look at yourself, if you do YouTube, watch your videos, whatever, listen to yourself speak. I do training with people to help them improve their skills, interview skills, to take promotional examinations, things along those lines. I'm turning the AC on because it's going to get hot in here. So if you're looking for those type of services, I can help you out with that. But anyway, and I know because I've sat on that side of the board. I've sat on that side of the board, assessing other people, done the interviews, been through it, been beat up on both sides and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, people are unable to do assessment of themselves. So I'll watch this video over and over again, My process is I make the video, then I'll watch it, and then if I got to edit some stuff out, then I'll do it. But I really want this to be an organic conversation, so I don't do that much editing. Maybe I'll add a picture here and all that kind of stuff. But I try not to do that because I want this to be a real organic conversation that we're having. And so what happens is people are unable to assess themselves. So I watched the video yesterday. And as soon as I turn the thumbnail on, and all these different stuff pops up on my stuff, right? Just same thing with you, right? If you're watching YouTube, right? All this stuff pops up, and it was somebody talking about black women. I'm not going to name the video because I don't want you guys going there and laughing at it and whatever. And the stuff, and I actually watched the video, but the thumbnail was problematic to me, right? The thumbnail was problematic to me. Because there was a lack of self-awareness about what I talked about before, command presence. The way that you speak, look, talk, etc. There's just a lack of it. Now, everybody's not going to have it. I understand that. I understand. I'm trying to make you the best version of yourself. Let me pause here for a minute here and really try to get to the heart of what I'm saying here, right? I'm not, well, pause, but let me this was a video about what black women want, black women in particular, not women, but black women, are they being used by the white power structure and all that? Are they unattractive, right? I'm trying to give all these different things because I don't want to give the exact title because I don't want to. What the man was saying was definitely good. Some things I disagree with. I probably agree with 3/4 of what he was saying. But there's a lack of recognition that the dating landscape has changed. I got married and I was almost right out of police academy. Is very very religious. Can't have sex outside of marriage. So I got married. 2024, 2023, 2020, really probably since the pandemic, 2020, and probably even before that, the dating landscape has changed. And I got divorced during the pandemic. And so it has changed so much from when I got married in the 1990s. And if you're trying to approach that from the way that people dated in the 1950s and 40s, it is completely different. Ladies work now. Ladies have their own money. They got the bag. They got their boss chicks. They got positions. They are not looking for. It's difficult to discern what they're actually looking for. But a lot of them are not looking for quote unquote providers. They may want or even protectors. They want somebody who I would say is more of an emotional support animal. Somebody who's going to get on their program. Somebody who can pour into their life. Somebody who can encourage them to be better boss chicks. That's what a lot of them are looking for. At least what comes across my feed. And the ladies that I've gone out with since my divorce, who I've had conversations with, this is what they're looking for. They're not looking for somebody to protect and provide and all that. In the 1950s, that's what they were looking for. 1940s, that's what they were looking for. They're not looking for that today. And you have to be very, very self-aware of that. You have to be very and I think that the video I watched, there was a lack of self-awareness as to what they want. And part of what they want is eye candy. And this is traditionally been difficult for men to understand, particularly men of my age. Maybe the Gen Zs and Gen As, maybe the even younger millennials, maybe they understand that. But as a guy, right? You are now required to be good looking, right? It wasn't really a necessity, right? Because a guy graduated from high school in the 1940s, 50s, went to the docks. Probably up into the 60s, went to the docks, went to the factory, and got a job, went to the coal mine, got a job, and was able to support a family. You could live, think about this, Sears may not even exist where you live at now, but you could get a job at Sears. A man could get a job at Sears, working the counters, working the lawn mowing section, and be able to support his family, and buy a nice house, the house with 2 kids and a dog, white picket fence in that time, 1960s, right? Can't do that today, obviously. So the ladies are looking for more. They are looking for. You have to put it through your head that they are looking for more. And you can substitute what I'm saying as far as ladies and jobs, whatever you're looking for. They're looking for more. You have to bring more to the table than just your job, your career. And now you have to have riz, right? Charisma. You got to have riz. You got to have game. You got to have drip. And you got to look good, right? This is where this gender war is starting to come from, because it's game, and you got to be this tall, and your things got to be so long, and you got to be able to do this and drive this type of car. And if you drive a car that's over 5 years old, they don't want to talk to you, and all kind of crazy nonsense, right? And so, yes, I get it when the men are saying, "Listen, I'm not doing all that. You guys are bugged out, right?" It wasn't like this until the 2020s or whatever really started, maybe 2015 or so, when all this started. And they're just not going to play this. They're not going to play this game anymore. The men are just not going to. I'm advising them not to play this game. I'm not going to play it. I'm out the dating game. I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. And what do I get for it? Okay, I don't want to beat up on the dating game and all that. But my point is, you have to be very, very self-aware. Remember, I talked about my grandma. I'm linking all this together. Talking about my grandmother. Talking about my time in the police department. People not seeing what's right before them. Right? They just don't have that ability to see it. So this guy puts out this video, again, good content, but the thumbnail. Listen. When I do professional, if it's a conversation like this, and it was a conversation like this, he did have a script that he was reading from and all that, and he didn't have that slang and vernacular and all that. He didn't have it, and that's fine. That's fine. Be yourself. That's fine. If I'm doing a video, now I got other channels, right? So if I'm doing a video, and particularly for my LMH Consulting Services channel, if I'm talking about police stuff, or I'm talking about, I did a video about, what was the latest video I did about Miss Marilyn Mosby, her situation that she's got going on there, former district or state's attorney from Maryland, and right. So I put on my shirt. I put on my collared shirt, polo shirt with my logo on it, right? Trying to look professional. Somebody might call me up and be like, come on CNN and talk about this, or whatever, right? Trying to think ahead. So if I'm doing that, okay, yeah, I have my stuff buttoned up. But this brother's making a video just like I'm making a video. He did read from a script, and his shirt's all the way tied up to the top there. Talking about riz, charisma, and what the ladies want. This is why I'm making this video. I'm not just talking. If he's just talking or whatever, that's fine. But you're making a video about what black women want. You got to understand what they want. And it didn't seem to me that he understood that. It didn't seem to me he understood that. Now, if the message was forget what they want and just be yourself, okay. But that wasn't really the message. The message was, here's what they want, and you're being used by white supremacist systems and all this in order to keep the black men and black women separate. Okay. If you want a job, if you want a career, if you want whatever, you have to put in the work, the time, the effort, and make sure that you are giving them what they want. I know somebody who just went for a state trooper test and didn't read the packet about how to show up to certain portions of the examination. And part of it was you got to wear a suit or have a sports coat on with a tie, slacks, and shoes. That was in the packet. Brother drives from, I live in Connecticut. Brother drives from Michigan to Connecticut, 8 hours. Shows up, all he's got on a tie and all this. They said, no, brother, we can't interview you, man. We can't interview you. He's like, I drove for 8 hours. Okay. It was in the packet. Attention to detail, understanding, right? This is the first thing, right? If you can't follow the simple directions about how to come dressed up for the interview, then you don't deserve to have this job, because we got to pay attention to detail, right? All this type of stuff, right? The room that the man, if he ever sees this or whatever, I'm not trying to embarrass him. I'm really not trying to embarrass him. I'm really not. I'm trying to get people to see how they see themselves. And it's difficult to take it's difficult to take an assessment of yourself. It's difficult to take an assessment of yourself. Period. And accept outside critique and criticism to make yourself a better person. If you want certain outcomes. You don't want to date anymore. You're like, I'm out the game. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm going to talk how I want. Women don't like me. Men don't like me. I don't care about this job. I work from home. I'm in IT. I can just sit. Okay, do what you want. But if you want certain outcomes, you got to do what it takes to get those outcomes. That's my point. Now, the brother didn't have. I'm jealous. He's got a full head of hair, but didn't have the most stylish of haircuts. He, I don't. It was a room. I'm assuming in his house. I'm assuming, right? I don't know. He didn't say where he was. I don't know if it was a spare bedroom, a kid's bedroom, but he's got toys on the back, Voltron and whatnot, toys. His headboard looked like it was from the 1950s, and I'm not kidding you, right? The same kind of stuff, the metal type of stuff that my grandmother had, right? Not a modern setup. No pictures on the wall. The bedspread looked mad old. I'm like, listen, man. I mean, so you expect a woman, a black woman in particular, this guy's a black man, to come to your house, right? You're going to bring her to your room, to your bedroom, and show her, and she's going to crawl in bed with Voltron? Come on, brother. Come on, man. come on, brothers. Right? So if you want certain outcomes, man, you got to step your game up. If you want to date, and maybe the answer is, I don't want that type of woman or whatever. Okay, man. Okay. If you want a certain type of woman, they are telling you what they want. They're telling you with their words, with their actions, most importantly. If you are mad because they're choosing Pookies and Ray Rays, I'm not telling you to become a Pookie and Ray Ray and get arrested and walk around with your pants sagging. I'm not telling you to do any of that nonsense. I think that you can be educated, and his brother did sound very educated. I think I sound very educated, but again, I don't know what my self-assessment would be, how you would come off. People think I was in the military. I was never in the military. I don't know what about me says I was in the military, but that's how people perceive me. You gotta understand. You got to understand what the customer wants. That's my point. You got to see yourself. You got to see yourself. See what's on the floor and ask yourself, man. Do some self-assessments. And this could come through hiring a coach, hiring a fashion designer. What was Kevin Samuels? He was an image consultant, right? How do I come off to people? I almost think that we should maybe take. I'm not going to say this because somebody's going to steal my mojo, and I'm going to be mad about that. But there's things and things that I really want to do. Listen. If you want certain outcomes, you have to put in those efforts. Told you my exercise routine, told you my eating routine. Get plenty of sleep, work on your self-image, work on your communication skills, work on whatever it is you want to work on in order to get the outcome that you want. So I don't want to say don't make videos and all. Don't disparage ladies because of their physical presentations and their actions, how they actually conduct themselves in their behaviors. It's not white supremacists' fault. I disagree. It's not all these different people's fault if you're not getting the actions that you want, because they will come after you. They will come after you if you have what they are looking for. It's been often said, and I will agree with this, right? The women can have all these different standards about how tall you got to be, this, that, and the other, how much money you got to make. But if they meet the right brother who's got the right swag and the right this, that, and the other, all those standards are eliminated. They'll sleep with the guy the same night. But it's all how you come off, right? And some of it's going to be chemistry, some of it's going to be style, riz, all this kind of stuff, right? And yeah, some of it is, and some of it I disagree with the brother when he was talking about muscles, game, and all this kind of stuff, right? Right? He was saying that you don't really need that, and I was like, I mean, maybe you do. But then I thought about it, and he's right. I mean, if you come off right, then all that stuff doesn't matter. There are teachers right now. There's an epidemic of teachers. I mean, this has been in the news all over the place. School teachers who are sleeping with their students in record numbers, females that they're catching anyway. Females. Apparently, it's always been going on with males, but the females are out of control. One of them, she hadn't slept with them yet, but they were kissing and texting each other, and this kid was 11. These women have husbands many times. So they will break the rules for who they want to break the rules for whatever it is. The attention you're giving to them, maybe they feel they can mold you. Maybe I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But whatever's going on, the point is that they will break the rules for who they want to break the rules for. So I'm trying to get you to be the best version of yourself, and I want you to be able to take an honest assessment of yourself. I told you before, and I'll tell you, and I'll say it again. Some truck is trying to get through here. Please don't hit my car. Take a self-assessment of yourself. Hire people. Look at yourself. Understand who you are, where you come from, what your motivations are. You got to understand yourself. And that truck threw me off. So you really have to be able to take these assessments of yourself and really try to improve. Now, if you don't want ladies' attention, if you don't want a job, then that's fine. Just be yourself and just do whatever. But if you want outcomes, you have to do what it takes to get those outcomes. I fought this for a long time. Believe me, my friend of mine, he'll tell you that we were in the police department together. I didn't want to go to these meetings. I didn't want maybe mayor's stuff and different events about this, that, and the other. I didn't want to put on suits. I didn't want to put on a tie. I like being dressed. I like being dressed down. I like it. I like sweats. I like just chilling, just walking. I like it. I'm so glad that I don't work at this job anymore, not because the people weren't nice or anything, and that job wasn't good, but now I just teach online, and I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to go to meetings. You just send me what class I'm teaching, and I just teach the class, and I teach it online. But that's me. That's the place I'm at in my life. But if you're in a younger place, you're 25 years old, trying to figure out who you are, where you want to go, you got to get yourself together, and you got to get yourself together, and you got to do what it takes to get there. There's promotions you want to get. I told you about promotional examinations I had to get. I couldn't just walk in there with sweats, right? When we were taking these promotional examinations, I got to have a suit on. Hair's got to. We couldn't have beards, right? Hair's got to be trimmed, always trimmed. Latest, yes, you got to do that. These women want this. You got to do that. You got to trim your beard. You got to make sure your hair is looking good, smelling good. Don't blame other people for your life. Now, if you've done all that, you're in good shape. You got abs or in decent shape, and your drip game is the best it can be, and you got latest styles and fashions and all this kind of stuff. Then take a look at other things, man. Your communication, how you talk. This is what you want. I am tired. I am tired of this moniker of educated lame. It bothers me. It bothers me. Because I don't think that just because you are smart, you have an IT career, you have a PhD, you have a master's degree as a man, and you are not getting, you are seen as corny and lame. It bothers me. Just from rip. It bothers me. It bothers me that students in school who are smart, right? There's this thing that I told you this is gonna be a long video. There are students in school who are smart. Around about the 4th grade, that's when they start to kind of grow up. And I saw it to my, well, I guess he's still kind of my nephew, my ex-wife, right? I saw him starting to change at this age, and I was like, listen, I'm going to step in and help him. Then we end up getting divorced. I don't really do it anymore. But smart, A's, black boys excel. They excel. I'm not a school teacher, but I know the data and statistics. I teach criminology. I teach forensic psychology. I know what it is, right? I know that they start to change at that age. And they change because of social pressure and because they want to fit in, and they want to fit in and get the latest game and drip and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't get your kids, if you can afford it, good gear, and so they won't get laughed at and stuff, because I was one of the kids who was laughed at, so it bothered me because my mother was poor. But they shouldn't be falling away by the wayside and forsaking their education in order to fit in. I think we got to find a good coming together where the kid can be smart, where we praise excelling academically as well as making sure that they can fit in socially. And this is something that I get pushed back on all the time. You be yourself, and this. I'm not telling you to be somebody else. I'm not saying to be somebody else. I'm not saying you can't listen to certain type of music. But I am saying that your education, because that's what's important. You play around the first years of your life, you're not going to be anybody. You work hard. I'm not working hard. As I record this, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm about to go for a walk. I'm 51 years old. I have a PhD. I teach online. I'm about to travel the world. I'm about to start a new channel traveling the world. Black man traveling the world. I have a retirement for the rest of my life. Save money. Have a house. Education matters. But so does your social interaction and social skills. I can't be out and traveling the world and meeting these different people and giving presentations or whatever I'm doing, and I'm just socially awkward. Why would you encourage people to be socially awkward? They don't know how to interact with other people, their colleagues. Why are you encouraging that? I don't understand why people push back on me about not being socially awkward. I don't understand that. Even if you don't want if you don't fit in with certain ladies, you should want some lady or man or whatever you're into. You ought to want something. Somebody to talk to, somebody to spend your time with, somebody to spend your nights with. I'm gonna be socially awkward. I'm getting on the plane. Socially awkward. I'm getting on the cruise. Socially awkward. Scared and shy when I'm ordering food. Why are you encouraging that? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. And just because you get a PhD or get a master's degree or get an IT career, get your bachelor's degree or get your CDL or whatever, doesn't mean you have to be corny. Doesn't mean you should be looked down upon. It doesn't mean you should be disqualified from certain people. And the brother finished it off with, actually it was a separate video. I watched another video of his. And I want to link these two together and I'll let you guys go. He was talking about this new phenomenon of black women glowing up or glamming up, whatever the term is, their white husbands, right? The black woman effect. Before and after pictures of what does man look like, how he dressed before, and now he gets with a black woman and now he's this, that, and the other. Listen, let a black woman glam you up, glow you up. Are they willing to? I don't even know if they're willing to do it. I don't know. It seems, and he did give a great presentation about this. Is that I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that. You can find the videos. You can find them. But presentation matters. How you come off matters. How you speak, how you articulate yourself matters. Be able to move in different social circles matters. It matters, man. It matters. You're sitting at weddings and stuff, and you don't want to talk to anybody. You're shy about how you come off, how you talk to people, and this, that, and the other. Listen. I don't know why I get pushed back about this. Listen, if you made it this far, hit that like button. If you made it this far, it's been almost 40 minutes. Hit that like button, please. Let's make it do what it's due. Thank you so much for the new subscribers. I wanted to rant today for a little bit, and listen, let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if maybe I'm just crazy. Let me know if I'm crazy, if you agree with what I'm saying. But I want you to take a self-assessment of yourself. Do the best you can to look at yourself, how you come off, how you walk. Look at yourself in the mirror, all this kind of stuff. Check out your clothes, your drip, see all that. And then don't be afraid to talk to a neighbor. Don't be afraid to talk to a cousin, particularly one of an opposite gender. Hey, how does and take them out on a date. Your cousin, yeah, okay, take your cousin. Listen, here, I wanted you to treat me like a date. This is how I would act. How do I come off, right? Or maybe even a distant cousin, somebody, or maybe a cousin's friend or something like that, because maybe you're too relaxed around your cousins. But take your cousin's friend out on, this isn't a real date. It's just practice to pretend. I think that'll be great for people's confidence and get a real true self-assessment. Get a real true self-assessment. Hire an image consultant. Hire me as a life coach, right? Hire somebody to take a look at yourself and see how you're coming on. I mean, and I'm saying hire because if you do it with a friend, they may not give you a true assessment. But if you're paying me to do it, listen, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Here, yeah, I thought your game was weak. I didn't think you know how to talk to women. I think you came off shy. Your mannerisms were crazy. You got clammy hands. Yeah, tell them. Tell them to be willing to receive it. This is long enough. Much love and peace, everyone. Hit that like button. Let me know if there's something else you want to talk to. I really had to rant because the guy was giving great information, but how he comes off. And if you're talking about, if he was giving a presentation about IT stuff, it was a great presentation. Okay, it's great. But don't talk about what black women want. You don't. You gotta read the tea leaves. It's not just you. In the 1950s. You could go to the docks, go to some factory, whatever, get a job, come home back to your community, say I got a job. You meet a girl at the local church or local dance or whatever, and next thing you know, you guys get married, right? That's how it worked. That ain't working no more. That ain't working no more. You can have a nice job, and they'll take the guy. And why are they going out? You got a nice job, you got a nice career, and you can't figure out why they're going out to Pookies and Ray Rays because they had their own job. And now they want their back blown out, or now they want a certain level of confidence or whatever. So you got to exhibit as much confidence as Pookie and Ray Ray. You got to exude and exhibit as much confidence as Pookie and Ray Ray. I'll leave it off there.